Welcome to the Empire Brothers Rampart, and welcome to another development update that I want to give for Project Renaissance, where today we have a couple things that I wanted to discuss before the new year comes upon us, as at the moment things have been going along rather smoothly, I would say, besides just continuing to do currently at the moment, still doing interviews with content creators. I really appreciated the one with Lionheart. That was a lot of fun. If you guys haven't seen that, make sure to go check that out. Other than that, you guys may have seen I gave a little sneak preview of this a couple weeks ago, or I can't remember exactly when I did it, but you guys may recognize this image right here, where at the moment right now, one of the main things that's been really going on currently for Project Renaissance is right now we are still working on the battle prototype. I'm going to hold off on talking about that for today. There's quite a bit just for the battle map stuff that we've been trying to play around with that I think I can just discuss the prototype on its own, because at the moment there's been just a lot of debugging, some funny little instances where trying to get attack orders to work between units and the units are just killing themselves instead, so that's kind of fun. But besides that, primarily, one of our guys, Artstation, has been primarily focusing on, he's been really diving into Gaea and how we are going to have our workflow working out for terrain generation. As you guys can see, this is supposed to be for the Battle of Hastings, where he has rebuilt this in Gaea, and at the moment, I know I don't have the same license he has at the moment, so I'm limited in what I can actually see with Gaea here, but you can kind of see an idea of like what we're trying to do here. As we already even have a he put together kind of a workflow map, kind of generalizing our current ideas on how we're going to handle kind of this procedural generation of terrain. Because for right now, I know at this point in time, I don't think we're going to be able to, at least with the team we have right now, do procedural generation in-game, like right in that instance of, oh, you're in this random little area, it's going to generate a new map. And I feel like that might just be too intensive, and so we're trying to find a pseudo procedural generation, which at the moment the main idea is here. We're going to be taking, this is kind of similar to how I was originally making the map when I started this project just on my own, where we'll take high-res height map data, import that in. Instead of importing it directly into Unreal like I was trying, we can actually use Gaea, which is an amazing tool, honestly. It's a really cool tool that is available. And what we can do is we can feed this into Gaea, use this to kind of create a stylized and scaled map where we can have so many of these different little nodes that you can generate. Like, hey, here's specifically just the rivers. Here's, let's see, where's another one I can showcase? Here's like the final height map. Here is it just being combined. Here's supposed to be specific, like, hey, here's the forest around just the river. Here are some hedges, and there's just a ton of like cool little stuff that you can do with Gaea when you combine this all together. And I was playing around with it myself a little bit, but at the moment right now, we're thinking what we might be able to do is we will use this to essentially, you can see, yeah, we'll make the stylized map, we extract the pertinent data. Essentially the idea would be when you are playing in, if you were trying to start a battle, it would, we would try and basically pre-make a bunch of procedural generated maps, essentially kind of procedural. This is what I'm saying, like this is like the pseudo procedural generation that we're kind of thinking as a way to get around like true procedural generation. Like that just might be too intensive for this project, and so right here, hey, we'll just like take this little section, you're doing a fight around this area, we'll grab this, take the little height map around that localized area, generate a map in Gaea, and then we can use that as saying, hey, oh, you're in this area, this is the map that should be in that area. And so we just have to, we're trying to currently play around with whether or not we do this for literally every single area, or because you guys can see like this, I think because we're trying to think like, hey, you technically split them up into 10K by 10K tiles, and technically we then scale them down so that I think we were going with 3K by 3K is the actual size that would be playable in game, because the maximum size in Unreal is 8K by 8K, but so we'll scale it down. But even with like 10K tiles, that'd be about what, 300 to, I think it was 300, because the let me get, what's the total area of the UK again? Total square area of the UK. of the UK. I think it was like 300,000 square kilometers. That's miles. Yeah, kilometers. So square kilometers is 243 square kilometers. So there's still a lot, and we could easily have it. So yeah, that could be a lot of maps. And hopefully, like, we'd worry about the size of those, but we might be able to have some compression and possibly some more optimized ways to store those files. But it's something we're kind of playing around with still. But hey, once we have those maps, essentially then we can bring it on into Unreal and then use more of their procedural generation for trees and other foliage and whatnot, because we actually have some things from that. So, like, this is more going into like the little tiles, like splitting up the UK into different tiles. Then we'd be able to generate those maps. This is now more of the procedural generation specifically in Unreal that he was playing around with. So this is just like with trees. I actually have some videos that he also took as well. This is a better, like, an actual screenshot of using the character to kind of test out what it feels like to be in that area. So just imagine our armies are in this area. This is some more of like actually like splitting up. He's also been playing around with some more like actual. I'm gonna hold off on that. That's for later to talk about. He's been playing around with some actual weather stuff too, which is just using a available plugin, which I think is fascinating. Now here's some of the actual videos. These are just more GIF style. The first few, they're just kind of showcasing what he's been trying to be able to get together with the procedure generation, where this is just, hey, first kind of little instance with it in Unreal, and then here is is this the one I'm thinking of? No, this isn't the one I was thinking of just yet. It's the one, so this is like the different scale of it, and the next one is the one that I'm thinking of, where you can see that when you move it around is where you get the interesting things. So this is the actual aspect where Unreal has its procedural generation. So it's not just going to be the same thing all over the place. You move it to different locations across the terrain, and it will procedurally generate as slightly different foliage, which I think is cool as hell. Other than that, so this is so one of the first initial tests I believe he had with the weather system a little bit that he had with a plugin. This one doesn't have sound, but the last one I have does have sound. This is more of that same area that I showcased earlier. You can see, like, this is starting to look pretty good. I like this. You can kind of see the different types of foliage, how they're procedurally generated into Unreal. Looks pretty good. And now this is actually with the weather system. So there's actually some sound now at this point in time. So you guys can kind of see there's some, like, dynamic rain and also sound with that, which I think is good. It's a good little showcase of what we've been able to try and do so far with the battle maps, because at the moment right now, this is also all will translate to campaign as well, where honestly we're thinking that I did my initial first kind of map to showcase what is possible for this project, kind of like the grand scope of what is like the ideal max size of the map I would like to go for, but we might also, since again we're trying to focus more on just the UK for right now for the battle prototype and also the first campaign prototype, and honestly the release we're going to be trying to get when we do early access. I'm not opposed to us using higher quality data just around the UK. We get that area really set up, and then we can slowly use this same workflow. This works. This workflow works really well as long as we have this some really good high-res height map data. We can translate this into other territories and really easily have an evergreen system for map generation, which I think is really good. I think that's a good idea to be able to go along with, so that we're not having to worry nearly as much about having to handcraft maps. We are thinking that we might have to do that at some point, possibly. We'd prefer if we can try and automate most of this, just to make the most out of our smaller team, because ideally this is like the most automated kind of way we can go about it. The one issue is it might just be very large for its space. Technically, like we think for just the UK, for the current size that some of these maps are exporting at, before any sort of compression or other storage systems or other ways to store the information, it'd be coming out at around 12 gigs, just for the UK, which, what is the, let's see, square area of Europe? How big is that? Awesome. I need it in kilometers squared, not let's see, kilometers squared. And I don't want it in miles, square miles. It's 4 million square miles. 10 million square kilometers. UK was 240k kilometers. God. Oh, I hope you guys are ready for this project and ready to help support it, because oh my god, like, I want to get to that point. I want us to have all of Europe. I want us to get to India. I want us to have a bit of America too. But oh my god, the size of this map is going to be something. It's going to be something. This is why I know I was basically the first version of the first release version of this campaign will be just the UK. And essentially we're kind of going to be going along with a kind of an idea of like what happened with Immortal Empires and Immortal Empires and Mortal Empires, where we're going to have to like slowly expand the map every once in a while as we are able to get things out. Because I think that's going to be the only way to get the product that we want out in any sort of fashion, is slowly building it out bit by bit. And I think that's understandable, going from like, hey, the UK, and then I think for me, I'd have it so that after UK, we go to France, Iberia, I think Central Europe was after that, and then we kind of like just keep going area to area as we keep building this out. But it's an ambitious project, but also it's the only it's the only way I feel like I would want to go about this. Go big or go home. Why the fuck not? If Crusader Creative Assembly is not going to make Medieval 3, we will do what we can to make the spiritual successor for it. But the other thing I wanted to talk about, as this was just another thing that is besides the map stuff, has been a bit more on some art stuff. This is Steve. Hello, Steve. This is Jan's work again. I love his artwork, honestly. Where at the moment, this is more so he set up a system to kind of try and test out and automate and make it a bit easier to test out different faction colors on units to kind of see how they would be represented. At the moment, we're kind of trying, we know we want to be able to have it so that we can have, if anything, for sure, at least historical authenticity, but if we can, also more historical accuracy. So at the moment, this is just kind of the base idea, just get the different faction colors and get the idea of how they feel on the units. I know we want to try and have it, so I think we were thinking about allowing us to change the saturation on some of these colors. And so if we want to have it, because like this is very vibrant, this is kind of similar to like what the 1212 Medieval Kingdoms 1212 mod has for Attila, where that's pretty vibrant. Medieval 2 I know is very vibrant as well, and that is not necessarily the most accurate, but also we will allow it that if people really want to, we want to be able to try and allow people to change the saturation. So if you want more muted, more realistic colors, ideally that's what we're trying to play around with, to be able to have that in mind. But this is kind of just the idea of like different factions, different colors, like their different highlights and how they kind of feel and represent on the units. I really like this one. This one I really do like. Like I could see this for like being for like Aragon or something like that. This could be just some sort of like random French county. It's a nice, good visual representation. And now that we have this system set up, we can now kind of play around and test out how these colors would feel and how they might be represented on units. I know right now, the 3D modeling aspect, that's going to take the longest time. So at the moment, I feel like we're going to get a lot of the things set up. In the 2D art style area, that's a lot easier as opposed to 3D, but things are still progressing along in that front. Still, mainly collecting all the art resources and research that we need to try and be as historically accurate when we're designing those as possible. But I do think that is a short little update. This might be the last update for the year. I don't know. I might be able to get something else out maybe next week. Possibly. I know I have already on my own personal channel stated when I'm going to be kind of going on break for the holidays. And so technically I could get something out next Wednesday on the, that'd be on the 20th. But probably not. So this might be the last update for the year. But I'm gonna hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any other thoughts that you want to bring up on this development update, let me know. I love hearing you guys' thoughts on this project. I really appreciate the support you guys have for this project as well. It's very encouraging for the team to just know how much people are enjoying and hoping and waiting to see this project. It's gonna take some time, but I will keep at it. We'll keep at it, and I cannot wait for us. I'm hoping 2024, I want us to have that battle prototype. I really want to have a battle prototype and be able to actually play it. And I know I've talked about this before. I want to be able to try and have it so that once we have the battle prototype available, I would like to try and make it a demo if possible. I'm pretty sure I've talked to Corey about that, where he's also very interested in the idea of making it, probably trying to make it a playable demo. And I want to try and be able to let people check that out. I want anybody that is interested in trying to support this project to be able to get in some feedback on how does the battle prototype feel. I know that is one of the most important aspects of this project, is making sure the battles feel good, and getting feedback on how the weightiness of units, how things feel. That would be so important to get that right. Because if we can get the battle prototype right, I think we can do this. I think we can do this, and I think we can do better than what Creative Assembly is able to do, I think. Because we're a smaller team, we can be more focused, and I think that I'm hopeful. But again, I'm going to hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, if you're enjoying this content, you want to keep supporting the channel, make sure to share this video, get out the word. Just support it through likes and comments as well. That always helps. Give this the algorithm that stupid fucking sacrifices. But I'm going to be done for now. Thanks, guys, for stopping by. This is Rampart, and I'll see you guys next time.